krossa sionismen. Leve Palestina och krossa sionismen. Leve, leve, leve Palestina. Leve, leve, leve Palestina. Leve Palestina och krossa sionismen. Leve Palestina och krossa sionismen. Och vi har odlat jorden. Och vi har odlat jorden. Och vi har skördat vetet. Och vi har skördat vetet. Vi har plockat citronerna. Och vi har plockat citronerna. Och pressat oliverna. Och pressat oliverna. Och hela världen känner till vår jord. Och hela världen känner till vår jord. Leve, leve, leve Palestina. Leve, leve, leve Palestina. Leve Palestina och krossa sionismen. Leve Palestina och krossa sionismen. Och vi har kastat stenar på. Och vi har kastat stenar på. Soldater och poliser. Soldater och poliser. Och vi har skjutit raketer. Och vi har skjutit raketer. Mot våra fiender. Mot våra fiender. Och hela världen känner till vår kamp. Och hela världen känner till vår kamp. Leve, leve, leve Palestina. Leve, leve, leve Palestina. Leve Palestina och krossa sionismen. Leve Palestina och krossa sionismen. Och vi ska befria vårt land. Och vi ska befria vårt land. Från imperialismen. Från imperialismen. Och vi ska bygga upp vårt land. Och vi ska bygga upp vårt land. Till socialismen. Till socialismen. Och hela världen kommer att bevittna. Och hela världen kommer att bevittna. Leve, leve, leve Palestina. Leve, leve, leve Palestina. Leve Palestina och krossa sionismen. 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 Leve, leve, leve Palestina. Leve, leve, leve Palestina. Leve Palestina och krossa sionismen. Leve Palestina och krossa sionismen. Och vi har odlat jorden. Och vi har odlat jorden. Och vi har skördat vetet. Och vi har skördat vetet. Vi har plockat citronerna. Och vi har plockat citronerna. Och pressat oliverna. Och pressat oliverna. Och hela världen känner till vår jord. Och hela världen känner till vår jord. Leve, leve, leve Palestina. Leve, leve, leve Palestina.
We are all Palestinians. Yes, we are. We are all Palestinians. And I'm going to show you by the end of this video. Maybe you don't realize that, but by the end of this video, you will. I promise you that. And I also promise you that by the end of this video, you're going to have such a deep understanding of what's happening right now in Canada and why it's happening, that you're going to be able to educate anybody around you. Because nobody, and I promise you this, nobody is talking about this. Nobody's talking about this, and nobody's pointing this out. And the only other person that can understand the risk that I take doing this, and I'm saying somebody else that you guys may know, is Kiki Green. And, I'd like to give a shout out to Kiki. I know she stops by every once in a while, but she's the only other person don't get me wrong. There are hundreds of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people still on YouTube that fearlessly talk about this. And there are millions and millions and millions of people all over the world that fearlessly talk about this. But the power that these people have and the way they've usurped governments and corporations and the healthcare industries, like I covered before with Pfizer, the CEO's own parents were almost killed by Nazis. It was only because of a payout that his mother was not taken to a firing line. She was almost killed in a firing line by Nazi soldiers. And her own, I think it was her brother-in-law, paid off a Nazi official, and she was removed. Her life was spared. This is Albert Bourla's own mother. One generation, his own mother. Look into his history. The CEO of Pfizer, okay? And I created a concept called payback. Payback. Because even Kiki, being a black woman, her voice and throat is digitally silenced when she talks about this. And many other people are too. However, and I'm just putting this out front, I will have this conversation with anyone at any time. I will have this conversation with anyone at any time. And what I mean by that is the conversation pertaining to Zionist communists overthrowing governments, overthrowing corporations, overthrowing media corporations and outlets, Hollywood entertainment. Again, Pfizer CEO, just naming one. Let's have the conversation. See, they don't want to have the conversation. And there's an old saying, they say it's true or it's not, or no, it's misquoted or whatever. But if you ever want to know, or if you ever want to come to the realization of who's actually in power, the controllers, all you have to do is just figure out who you're not allowed to criticize. Just like in a lot of states, Texas, Florida, a lot of states down south for some reason, and they're all around, you cannot criticize Israel or boycott Israel, more specifically, and be a candidate or eligible for a government contract. This is a law. This is a law. Okay? So how do you get that type of law passed? You control the legal system. That's how. I'll have this conversation with anybody. I'll bring tons and tons and tons of data and truth and information to the table, but they don't want that. There are many, 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 many other people that are much, much smarter than me, who have dedicated their entire lives, their professional lives, to researching this topic. And there are massive independent news outlets that completely ignore this aspect. Again, what I'm about to show you, you will never see anywhere else. I promise you that. And there are other independent news outlets and investigators, again, who have researched this topic for many, many, many years. One of the bigger ones is Amnesty International. That's one of the bigger ones. Continuous human right violators in what they call a terror state in Israel. Right? I'm saying that's what Amnesty International says. I'm an American citizen. Covert Radio is an American citizen with inalienable rights. Do you understand what that means? I know you may have heard that before. People use that word. I have my rights. I have inalienable rights. Do you know what that actually means? It means that you, as an American citizen, you have rights that are unable to be taken away from you. You have rights that you can't even give away. They're yours. They're your birthright because you were born in America and you are a United States citizen. And with that come birthright rights that are inalienable. They can't be taken away, and you can't give them to anybody else. There are rights. We have freedom of religion. That's one of the most important inalienable rights of all of them. That's a human right. That's a human right. It's one of the most important ones. And it's just as, maybe to some more, to some people, there are other rights that are, they may leverage and say, well, this one's a little bit more important because without this right, this constitutional right, this one doesn't matter. Like some say, well, freedom of speech doesn't matter unless you have the right to bear arms. And then some say, well, the right to bear arms doesn't matter unless you have freedom of speech. They all, the people who, the founding fathers, again, if you believe in the founding fathers, you're a terrorist. You're a domestic terrorist. That's how far they've usurped the law. That's how far they've usurped the government. To label the people who have founded this country with every basis that surrounds it, and they'll focus on the bad stuff to use it as an example, which I talk about in I didn't upload it yet. And you know what? Let me ask you guys a question while I'm thinking about it and while this come up. What do you guys prefer, long shows? Just give me a yes, no, yes, covert. No, I don't like them. I like the little 8, 10, 15-minute clips. Me personally, I love long shows. That's why I always say this is talk radio format, because this is some of my, I try to keep them around an hour, like the Sunday show. I try to keep it around an hour, but the one I just recorded a little bit ago is like an hour and a half. And the information is so important, and there's so many topics covered in there. I don't want it to get lost. That's why I'm trying to break down or make smaller videos, so the important each independent and important topic that I talk about, I want it to have its own chance to be heard, because some people may be like, oh, another hour and a half, I can only listen, and then they don't listen to anything else. And there's a diamond mine and a gold mine in that hour and a half long show, but you may only get a few lumps of coal in the first 15 minutes, and then because of the bread and circus, you get distracted, or maybe you don't like them, but whatever. I'd like for you to put a comment down in the comment section there. Tell me if you like the longer shows, and or maybe just for the Sunday show, keep it long or whatever. But me personally, when I'm doing other things, I'm working on stuff, I'm fixing something, whatever, restoring something or working on a project, I enjoy long shows, because then I don't have to worry about finding interesting stuff to listen to or whatever. But again, your constitutional rights, which I spoke about a little bit yesterday. Well, actually, it was earlier today in this show I didn't upload yet. They all hinge on each other. And freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, the freedom of religion, they're all inalienable rights. We are special in America because, again, you are given these. They're your birthright. And you're watching other people who either don't believe in this country or they've usurped this country piss all over our rights and start taking them away from us. And they only use the rights and the benefits for their own advancement. the right to bear arms and the rights to form a militia was supposed to be installed to protect us against all enemies, foreign and domestic, meaning foreign people who have dual citizenship or try to come here and invade the country from the southern border, and domestic terrorists who are right here on the soil. But because they've usurped the law and the government, they're trying to relabel and call people like me a domestic terrorist. I'm a domestic terrorist. While this platform that you're hearing my voice on right now, and you may be listening on YouTube, and that's who I'm talking about, but I will upload this to Rumble. By the way, Rumble in the description. Please subscribe to Covert Radio's Rumble account. This platform is turning into a domestic enemy of your inalienable rights, of you as an American citizen. They are becoming your enemy. And they're threatening our rights. They're threatening our rights to freedom of speech and many other ones that they deem they can cherry pick what they want people to hear and what they don't. Again, Covert Radio is in some sort of unannounced private Guantanamo Bay level prison cell that's controlled by YouTube. It's funny that everybody knows about, oh, I'm in Facebook jail because I said something that they didn't like, and they laugh about it like it's a fucking joke. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. You have no freedom of speech because of a company that's based in America that has American tax subsidy. Google alone, Alphabet, has over $1 billion in tax subsidies. Free money. So they can turn around and censor you and trample all over your constitutional rights and your inalienable rights. And you just laugh. You're like, I was naughty. I said something on Facebook that I shouldn't have said. Hey, everybody, I'm in Facebook jail. Are you going to be saying that when you're actually in a prison camp? Are you going to be, I'm in the gulag. Oh, this is what Alexander Solzhenitsyn wrote about. It's true. I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten in like 10 days. They throw a pile of garbage over there and we all fight for it. It's freezing here. I have these rags on. Oh, I'm in the gulag. Billions and billions and billions of dollars controlled by multi-millionaire elitists who have no problem turning this into a communist country. They're creating the technology, they're creating the platforms, and they have no problem shitting all over our rights. And because you're not doing anything about it. They're going to continue to dismantle, to trample, and destroy your rights. Your inalienable rights. While they literally live in their untouchable elitist compounds. They're trying to dictate to us what to think, how to work, what to say, where to work, what to do. While they surround themselves by their own like kind, they're all millionaire elitists. They turn their area into a compound and create laws to protect themselves. Look at this here. A wealthy Silicon Valley town has blocked new affordable housing projects by declaring itself a mountain lion habitat. Brilliant. Oh, this is brilliant. A wealthy Silicon Valley town has declared itself a mountain lion habitat to halt new affordable housing projects in there. And they don't want you living there. They want your vote, and they're going to promote who they want you to vote for, and they're going to take away your rights, and they're going to tell you how to think, but they don't want you living. They don't want to smell you. They don't want you anywhere near them. You understand that? The state's new law, known as Senate Bill 9, allows up to 4 housing units to be built in a single-family lot. But Woodside, California, blocked the building of new housing projects. January 27th memo, the town declared that all housing projects started under SB 9 would be indefinitely paused, which means they're never going to happen, as of January the 25th, after a petition is considered a petition to consider Woodside a habitat for mountain lions, a species that is the candidate to be considered endangered. It's not even endangered yet. It's a candidate to be considered endangered in the state. And they stopped any land to be built on housing projects because it's taking away habitat for a protected species. Given that Woodside, in its entirety, is habitat for a candidate species, no parcel within Woodside is currently eligible for an SB 9 project. The town's mayor, Dick Brown, told the Almanac that it was not the Woodside way to prioritize housing over a habitat for endangered species. Do you understand what he just said? It's not our elitist, millionaire, entitled way to prioritize poor people's housing. We don't over an endangered species. Go live on the street. Look at the California homeless problem. Go live on the street. No. We don't want to smell you. We don't want to be bothered for quarters or pennies while we're walking into Whole Foods. We don't want this. You understand? We love animals, he said. Every house that's built in one is one more acre taken away from mountain lions. Well, can I pitch a tent on one of these lots? The mountain lions can come in at night and keep me warm. Since I lost my company and my business while Jeff Bezos and the Walton family has increased their billions 20-fold in the last 2 years. Can I pitch a tent that I bought off of Amazon on one of these vacant lots, and a mountain lion can come snuggle up beside me to keep me warm, me and my children? How about that? Please. No. Go down to Skid Row. We have vouchers for free bus tickets, one-way ticket to Skid Row. Unbelievable. Pretty soon, we'll have nothing but asphalt and no animals or birds. He added that the town was looking for alternative options for affordable housing. Yeah, one-way bus tickets to Skid Row, right? They're protecting theirself. Activist reveals hidden military ties between Canada. You ready for this? We are all Palestinians. That's just what Covert Radio just said. We are all Palestinians. These are the words of Jeff Helper, one of 191 Nobel Peace Prize nominees in 2006. Not only a sentiment of solidarity, this statement reflects the effects of Israeli military research on civil liberties in Canada. According to the Israeli academic and peace activist, he led a discussion with students and professors at Concordia Monday afternoon. Where certain parts of universities are getting closed down, departments of universities that feed into military research have greater budgets. Helper told The Link, the closer ties you have to the military, the better funded you are. This is Canada. Geez, where else is that like? The more research you do to maintain diseases and the bottom line of multi-trillion-dollar medical companies, big pharma, you can, hey, this is how we can keep cancer active, but get another 10 years out of them to keep that medicine coming. This is a new drug we can put a 3-year-old on. Hey, by the way, 9 months old, yeah, they need to start taking this drug right here. Billions, endless amounts of money for that type of research. How to actually cure disease, actually cure cancer. No, sorry. We don't have the budget for it. We wish we did. Go ask the fat slave peasants if they want to give you a quarter. Go ask them. Just like all of the military men and women that come back maimed and blown up and massive mental disease. Yeah, we got to disarm them, and we'll try to squeeze another few $1,000s into the VA, but they can start their own little charities and have the fat slave peasants. They can take care of it. We got this oil to keep going after, which, if you want the truth about Ukraine, I will blow your mind. I kept saying this. I haven't touched on it, but I kept telling you in the last few weeks about NATO licking their lips trying to get Russia to jump into the Ukraine. And even though Putin is moving troops back, he's been in the last 5 days, today you still have warmongers. Oh, I know what he's doing. Yeah, what he's doing is a serpentine move. He's actually reallocating certain resources. Yeah, we're ready for war. Yeah, Putin's going to jump any second. And they've already talked about initiating a false flag. So here's what's going to happen. If they can't stop, put it this way, if Putin can't stop the media, which he won't, but he's showing the world these people are crazy. This was a training exercise. It's over. We're moving back. We're moving around, but they won't stop. They keep saying we're going to invade the Ukraine any minute. The same people that took us into the Gulf, the same people that started the Iraqi war, the same people that is in the Golan Heights, Dick Cheney, Halliburton, these big, massive warmonger corporations and oil conglomerates. These are the same people. It's the deep state. It's the swamp. These are the same people who want us to go into the Ukraine. They want a war because NATO is trying to fold the Ukraine into them. And Putin doesn't want that. He wants the peaceful Russians to be left alone, who predominantly speak Russian in that area. There's a whole southeastern section. Now, I'm not going to get into that here. That's a whole other video, but yeah. You got to wake up and understand what's happening. Universities like Concordia, McGill collaborate on projects like developing the weaponization of nanotechnology with Israeli schools such as Technion. This Israel Institute of Technology in Haifa, according to the Independent Jewish Voices of Canada, Halper claims Canada benefits when Israel researchers use Palestinians as guinea pigs for its weapons and systems and their exportation. Listen, you can read this article. This is what's going on. You see these guys? Guess who trained them? Guess who trained them? This is Canada. This is a live stream right now. Let's watch a few seconds here.
Lost the honor. Would you bend the knee for freedom?
You can see that we're moms here. You ask grandmas to watch your kids.
Why is he holding that like that?
I watched Doc.
Why is he holding it like that? Because these Israeli military forces trained him to hold his baton like that. They dressed them. They outfitted them. These guys here, this is a news reporter right here. You see all these Canadians around telling him to tell the truth. Look at these monsters back here in a line, these stormtroopers. Look at them.
Anytime we try to report,
Evan, your handlers are here. Go home, Evan. Evan, go home.
Show the protesters getting beat up. The unarmed protesters. Unarmed protesters getting beat.
Yeah, just like Israeli forces break the fingers of young little boys who are Palestinian, what do they call them? Hezbollah. Yeah, they're throwing rocks against your, your Iron Curtain, what do they call it? The missile defense system. These kids are throwing rocks at soldiers that are dressed like these imbeciles back here, all in stormtrooper green. Yeah. So they'll break your fingers. They shot you in the kids in the back. They'll throw them on the ground head first. The knee to the neck. See, if you know Covert Radio and you followed Covert Radio, I was one of the first people who showed you this. This right here. Where's it at? Right here. Remember when I covered this? Minnesota cops were trained by Israeli forces. You remember that? Back when the Saint George Floyd was killed, murdered by Derek Chauvin, a psychotically Napoleonic syndrome-laced lunatic who was his lunacy was enforced and danger was underlined by Israeli forces. In chilling testimony, a Palestinian rights activist said that when she saw the image of Derek Chauvin kneeling on Mr. Floyd's neck, she was reminded of the Israeli forces policing of occupied territories. Netta Golan, the co-founder of International Solidarity Movement, said, "When I saw the picture of killer cop Derek Chauvin murdering George Floyd by leaning on his neck with his knee as he cried for help and other cops just turned around or they watched, I remember noticing when many Israeli soldiers began using this technique of leaning in on our chest and necks when we were protesting in the West Bank sometime in 2006. They started twisting and breaking fingers in a particular way around that same time. It was clear they had undergone training for this. They continue to use these tactics. Two of my friends have had their necks broken, but they've luckily survived. And it's clear that they, Israel, share these methods when they train police forces abroad. They are being trained by Israeli forces in crowd control in the United States and other countries, including the Sudan and Brazil. The training of U.S. police officials by Israel forces is widespread. Even Amnesty International was compelled to report that hundreds of police from Florida, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, California, Arizona, Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts, North Carolina, Georgia, Washington State, and Washington, D.C. had been flown to Israel for training. Thousands more have been trained by Israeli forces who have come to the U.S. to host similar events to the one held in Minneapolis. According to what somewhat selective rights organizations, many of these trips are taxpayer funded, while others are privately funded. I remember covering the ADL was paying for American police to be shipped out to Israel to be trained by their military. Well, let's see here. Why would that happen? Why would these people use their own money to send our police over to be trained by their military in all acts of subduing the population, of subduing people who are protesting? It's almost like they knew. Maybe they knew something was going to happen. There'd be a lot of protests coming up in the next few years. There's going to be a lot of people standing up for their rights. We got to be ready for that. So let's train police from Canada to Mexico on how to hurt peaceful protesters. You starting to understand now? You starting to get it? Nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about this.
Dear Evan!
They're not peaceful.
Dear Evan! Dear Evan!
Oh, there you go. You're off. Ha ha. Bye bye. Bye bye. Tell the truth, Evan.
People basically just pleading with government-funded media to tell the truth.
People in Canada are pleading with government-funded media to tell the truth. I'm just waiting for the Confederate flag to walk through the frame, or another swastika to walk through the frame. Come on, perfect opportunity for the optics, boys. Come on, let's get this. Let's send it home. And I talked about this in depth in the, I'll link this video. I'll link the one I'm talking about here. I went into this in depth about symbolism and how they've used, even Trudeau has used, and they're, the conservatives in Parliament, they're siding with people who fly the swastika and people who are out there with the Confederate flag. Okay? A Confederate flag that means nothing in Canada is right there front Johnny Center for this protest. Why? Because of symbolism. And I'll link that video. Actually, I'll try to use one of them little tags right now, that video. But either way, it'll be at the end of this video, and you guys can watch that. It's mind-blowing. So there, you have all these mainstream news outlets, government-funded, and they're there trying to, smear the protesters. Here's another live stream here.
Just work. If you guys would tell it, they said shoot now, you would shoot now.
Look at him. I mean, is this guy a cop, or is this a Marine? Is this guy a cop, or is he Marine? Is that a cop or a Marine? Is this look at these, Israeli soldiers or police? Can't tell. Blur the line. Israeli cop trained. Is this police? Is this in America? Where's this at? Don't know. One world government. One world medical system. One world currency, aka Bitcoin, or digital currency, cryptocurrency. One law system. One military. One police force. All controlled by them.
Don't respect you guys as human beings. If that guy says shoot, will you shoot? Yes, of course you will.
Of course he will. He's been trained to.
You're a female. You have empathy. I don't know about these guys, but females used to have empathy. When I grew up, my mom was a female. She used to care about people.
They don't care, boys. They don't care. There's going to be blood in the street.
Live now from Ottawa with the latest. Good afternoon, Sean.
Well, Candace, it is absolutely chaotic here. We're at Colonel By near Rideau. You can see the crowds right here. These are mostly protesters, some journalists, but beyond these crowds are just an enormous number of police officers, tactical officers, regular officers. We have police on horseback. Toronto Police Mounted Unit is here. People carrying flags. Now the protesters are face to face with the police. So we're just going to walking up in closer here.
Yeah, this is the police for a peaceful protest. Within the next 24 hours, the blood's going to start. It's actually already started. If you look here, look at this. Canadian Mounted Police. This woman's handicapped. She was trampled on by police horses. Here we go. Watch this.
Hold the line! Here comes the horses.
Oh my goodness! Look what you did! Look what you did to her! Look what you did to her! Look what you did to her! You trampled on a lady who is inaccessible! Shame on you! Shame on every one of you! Shame on you!
They're following orders, boy. They're following orders. They're Israeli military training is being enacted right now. It's no different. See, there's one article. I don't know if I'm going to get to it because I really wanted to make this short. Oh, watch this one. Here we go. Police brutality caught on film. Nothing will happen.
Punch. Oh my God. And they don't even know they're being recorded.
Oh my Oh my God. I get he doesn't want to go in, but oh my God.
He's still going at him.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 police officers on one.
So again, you see how almost I don't know, it's sad how unbelievable this is to Canadians. But an American looks at this and we're like, that's every Saturday night here. That's how desensitized we've been. That's how far away you are from. See, they don't teach about the Constitution or your inalienable rights in school. You'd think they'd teach that. No. They want to tell you, listen, don't even get me started about school and CRT and all this shit and Common Core. Don't get me started on that. They don't teach you about your rights. They don't teach you about POSSE COMITATUS, which if you did know what POSSE COMITATUS was, you would know that it is against the law. It's a violation of your constitutional rights and United States law to have armed military patrolling the citizens of the United States. It's illegal to have military on the street. It's illegal. But you see what they've done. They militarized the police without calling them the police. Just like Alphabet, Google, YouTube, and Facebook, they're social media, the public square. But in reality, they're a tightly controlled communist propaganda machine. If you don't dumb down your fellow Americans, and if you don't pull the party line of communism, then you're silenced and you're shunned and you're put into jails and prisons. They've normalized your free speech as being a jailable offense, and you just laugh about it. It's a badge of honor to be I'm in Facebook jail for 30 days. I can't. Hey, is that Honey Boo Boo on?
Disgusting! Oh my God!
You're now attacking different older people. Step up. Step up. There you go.
Disgusting! You guys are disgusting!
Where does the police end and the military begin here? Can anybody tell me that? This is how, this is Canada. I don't know if they have any rights about the militarization of police, but this is no different than what's happened in America. Look, just standing around, they're watching their backs. God only knows. Same thing as Derek Chauvin. Derek and the other cops were over here. Floyd's on the ground. And then you had cops like this standing the perimeter watching, making sure another peasant doesn't try to intervene. The blood's already started. Look at these guys. With whom, and this is Amnesty International, with whom are many U.S. police departments training? With a chronic human rights violator, Israel. That's who's training them, and that's who has trained Canada. For years, Amnesty International has found Israeli military, security, and police forces responsible for the same behavior. In one case, a 28-year-old Palestinian man, not suspected of any crime except being present during a raid, was killed in what appears to have been an extrajudicial execution by Israeli forces, including an undercover police unit during a raid on Al-Hali Hospital in Hebron in just November of 2015. Eyewitness reports that when Israeli forces entered the hospital room where the suspect was recuperating, they immediately shot his cousin. There was no attempt to arrest him or use non-lethal alternatives before shooting him dead. This is one example of many. There are also documented incidents of suppression of freedom of expression by Israeli police. No freedom of expression. For instance, journalists covering protests have been assaulted or shot. Individuals are also arrested for social media posts or for gathering to peacefully discuss the occupation. Police have harassed and arrested Israeli whistleblower Mordechai Vanunu repeatedly since he served his full sentence in 2004. Just this past July, Vanunu was in court for giving a news interview, moving in on the same building without notifying police, and for meeting with foreign nationals. Unbelievable. Israelis' export of occupation police tactics. They're training the world, and they've trained Canada. Israel is renowned as the center of training in fields of policing, homeland security, and related fields. In 2005, the then chief of police of Washington, D.C., a city that has adopted Israeli-style policing to an extreme degree, told the Washington Post that Israel is the Harvard of anti-terrorism. And you're a terrorist, I'm a terrorist. Those Canadians are now terrorists. Remember, Trudeau said it's a siege. Just like January 6th was an insurrection, even though the only person that was killed was a civilian. No accountability, no nothing. They are doing whatever they want, and everybody is cowering, eating Pizza Hut, Doritos, gulping down 500 billion grams of Coca-Cola in Pepsi, watching Honey Boo Boo and 1,000-Pound Sisters. Look how fat. Israel actively lauds its expertise with ministries of commerce, public security, and foreign affairs, advertising it in public pronouncements and their websites, and the government offers support for exporting their expertise, whether done by private firms or public entities. The Israeli method, in quotation, blends together state security policing with that of other crimes. Systems put in place in the Israeli coastal city of Netanya, for example, have private businesses linking their information with the tourist police, the city police, who in turn link that with national police, and then the General Security Service, aka Shin Bet. Israeli police and security forces do not separate policing related to Palestinian anti-occupation efforts from just normal street crime. It's the same effort, force, and control across the board. Newsflash, does your police department receive Israeli police training? The Intercept wrote, the focus of the training is on riot suppression, counterinsurgency, and counterterrorism, all of which are essentially irrelevant or should be irrelevant to the vast majority of police departments. It should be, but it's not. They shouldn't be suppressing protest. They shouldn't be engaging in counterinsurgency, and almost none of them face any real threat from terrorism. But when everybody around you is considered a terrorist, well, I guess they are, aren't they? Just relabel everything. Relabel it all. This is military education enforcing armed forces rule rather than learning how to maintain order in a civil society. Enforcing armed forces rule. Communism. Tiananmen Square, right? Look into it. In the United States, here it is, the POSSE COMITATUS Act forbids the domestic use of armed forces without the authorization by an act of Congress or the Constitution. 18 U.S. Code Section 1835. Yet, police departments around the country rely on Israeli military training, and they act as soldiers in blue uniforms. I'll link this article if you want to read this. Here's one more. I just want to show you guys this real quick. I didn't want to make this long. But this is the new Transparency, Canadian and Israeli Defense, Industrial and Homeland Security Ties, an analysis by Cole Kilabarda. Okay, it's a pretty long document, well written. There was something in here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, the Canadian-Israel Free Trade Agreement. Yeah, Canada and Israel have been in bed together for a long time. Canada-Israel security ties and the Declaration of Intent on Public Safety. Yeah. What's this? Okay. The CSA visit also coincided with a separate trip by 32 Canadian police chiefs to Israel that was hosted by the Israeli police and the Israeli Ministry of Internal Security. The police chiefs were treated to a demonstration of various Israeli high-tech security systems and products at an event in which 12 Israeli companies took part. Israel's economic attaché in Canada, Ephraim Soham, coordinated both trips. These visits were followed in the fall by another visit by 39 Ontario police chiefs, a mission that was co-chaired by Community Safety and Correctional Services Minister Monty K. Winter. York Regional Police Chief Armin Labarage and Joel Richler, and chair of the Canadian Jewish Congress Ontario region. Finally, in the summer of 2005, the Israeli Air Force took part in Canada's annual Maple Flag exercise at the Canadian Forces training facilities in Cold Lake, Alberta. The IAF sent 10 Israeli F-16 Fighter Falcon fight bombers and IAF B-707 with 150 crew members to participate in the exercise. Israel arrived 2 weeks early and is staying a few extra weeks to take advantage of Cold Lake Air Weapons Range, one of the world's largest unrestricted airspaces, explained by Lieutenant Sonia Konkook. Here, other examples of cooperation in this realm include the RCMP, which is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the people who just trampled that old disabled woman. They received training from International Security Instructors, a Virginia-based company that specializes in training law enforcement and soldiers, advertising its hard-won Israeli experience. Hard-won Israeli experience. Its instructors are veterans of Israel's Special Task Force from the Israel Defense Force, the Israel National Police Counterterrorism Units, and the General Security Services, or Shin Bet. The company's elite list of clients includes the FBI, the U.S. Army, the U.S. Marine Corps, the U.S. Navy SEALs, London's Metropolitan Police. Unbelievable. Vintage Canada, 2008. Finally, the Israeli Fire Service and their counterparts in Ontario have also been cooperating since 2004. Including training provided by IFS personnel and Ontario. See, I'm like 4 words ahead. Ontario Fire College. College, I mean. And there's just one more. Challenging Israel-Canadian Global Pacification. An independent Jewish voice campaign against the military, prison, police, and surveillance complex. This is a terrific article, and I will link this. Canada has imported the Israeli occupation and repression of Palestinians. Just like that first article I showed you guys. We are all Palestinians, right? We're all Palestinians. Israeli occupation and repression of Palestinians. Through its wars and the repression of the Palestinian dissidents, Israel promotes its... See, here's the problem, guys. You know, I'm looking at a monitor that's about 4 feet away from me. I have 3 monitors, one right in front of me that I'm removing. I have one to my right and one to my left. And I have the controls on the right monitor so I can control whatever you guys are looking at. But it's buried under a lot of links. And then I have the screen on the left that you can actually see here where my mouse is moving. But that monitor is literally like 4 or 5 feet away from me. So I'm squinting and, you know, it's all running together. So, you know, that's the issue I have about reading some of these, you know, longer articles. Plus, I normally don't read like this, but I know you guys hate reading, or a lot of you do. So I just figure I'll try to do you a favor and read some of this. But again, I'll link everything. You guys can read it. But let's see here. Israel promotes its weapons as battle-proven. Israel is one of the world's leading arms exporters, the world's leading exporter of drones, a leader in counterinsurgency technologies and high-tech weapon systems, high-tech surveillance, and policing. Israel is a leader in how to change laws in order to justify collective punishment and unconventional weapons. Did you understand what I just said? Israel is a leader in how to change laws in order to justify collective punishment and unconventional weapons. One could be like using LRADs to quell peaceful protesters, using microwave guns and weapons to disperse crowds. They used to use water cannons. You see how that went back in the 50s and 60s during the civil rights movement. Israeli academic and peace activist Dr. Jeff Hapler refers to this as Israel's pacification industry, which is part of a broader global pacification industry. He also said that Israel is integrated in Canada's public security. Well, listen, bud, there's no doubt in that. You can see it. If you line up Israeli forces or police, you line up police in Washington, D.C., now you line up the police in Ottawa, you're not going to know who is who. And you could have military and police. And unless they physically have writing on them that says police, you're not going to know who is who. This is all going back to Israel, okay? And nobody's going to tell you that. Nobody's going to tell you that. Policing. In 2005, 32 Canadian police chiefs, I read this before, visited Israel, and it was hosted by the Israeli police and the Israeli Ministry of Internal Security. The visit was followed several months later by another 39 police. Academic. Canadian universities such as McGill and Concordia have links with Israeli academic institutions. Public security. Canada and Israel signed, without parliamentary approval, the 2008 Canada-Israel Public Security Cooperation. Operation Proteus. Canada aid has shifted from humanitarian aid to that of militarized policing in Palestine. Operation Proteus, through military in origin, has grown to encompass team members from the Department of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, the Canadian International Development Agency, Justice Canada, and the Canadian Border Services Agency, all bringing their expertise to the table. Weapons, Israeli together with Canada, they're blocking investigation of Israel use of weapons such as white phosphorus, flechettes, dense inert metal explosive devices, cluster bombs. Unusual injuries were reported by medical personnel in the 2006, 8, and 9, and in 2014 attacks on Gaza. Canada is one of the 6 nations to vote against a 2014 UN resolution asking Israel to sign the Nuclear Weapons Non-Proliferation Treaty. They won't sign it. And I don't think they've signed it yet. And, you know, we're talking profits in the billions of dollars. I'll link this. You guys can read it. You know, that's one thing Israel has always said that they would do. I think they call it the, what do they call it? The Samson or Hercules option. You know, if they're ever under attack or they're under invasion and there's no hope for them, they will literally launch every nuke they have. Because in their mind, if we go down, everybody's going down. I'll have to cover that one time in another video. Check the links. Please subscribe to my Rumble. This may go on Rumble. I'm not sure yet because, again, you know, we know how this goes on YouTube. But again, I challenge anybody listening to my voice. You want to have this discussion, you want to have this conversation, I'll have it. Let's bring all the data to the table, and we're going to see if anything that I've said is a lie. Nothing. It's well known Israel is exporting its lethal control all over the world, and all of the communists are buying into this program to subdue the peasants. And this is the last thing I'm saying. And I really wanted to get into Bundy Ranch and Waco and the murder of Lavoy Finicum. And, you know, that's why I said this ain't going to end well for Canada, for Ottawa. I said that weeks ago. And I compared the standoffs that have happened here in America. They've been trying to phase out freedom for over 20 years. It's actually been longer, but they've really been focused on it for about the last 20 years. And I'm telling you something. The only thing we have left is civil disobedience. That's it. And call your elected officials. Call people that, get paid from tax money, school board members, council members. But better yet, see, I'm saying hold them accountable. But what's better is to run for office. Run for office. Go into local politics. Go into your local council. Run for the school board. Run for your district, run for the county, whatever you can do, run. Because that's how they've been able to do this. They've usurped us while we were all asleep watching Honey Boo Boo. Just like TikTok. The way Chinese kids are learning how to build robots, American kids are eating Tide Pods because they want to go viral on TikTok. Or they're marrying cardboard cutouts while getting $250,000 plastic surgery to look more Korean. So there's still a thread of hope before this communist dictatorship is officially announced. Not just the way they're acting on it, just not the way they're using basically military police to quell anybody who opposes their communist overthrow of that country, whether it's Canada or America. Or the way they use corporations to, move forward their agenda. And corporations like Alphabet and Google and YouTube. Okay? Delete your Facebook account. And never stop speaking your mind. And we got to run for office anywhere you can get in. Check out the links. All of the data that I covered here is going to be in that. Please subscribe to Covert Radio Rumble. It's rumble.com/Covert Radio. Subscribe to the Covert Radio Twitter. I will use all their weapons until they disarm me. That's all I can do. Clip this information, cut it, share it, whatever you got to do. Consider becoming a Patreon if you want to support this type of media. You guys take care. Have a good day.